Ever wondered how our brains actually do faith? Welcome to Class Bites. Today, we're diving into the fascinating neuroscience behind belief. The human mind, in its quest for understanding, does not possess a separate chamber for faith. Rather, the architecture of belief is woven into the very fabric of our social and cognitive systems. Modern brain imaging reveals that religious thought is not a unique process, but one that leverages networks evolved for everyday interaction. When an individual contemplates a divine being's involvement in the world or its perceived emotions, their brain activates the same regions responsible for theory of mind, the fundamental human ability to understand the intentions and feelings of others. Deeper doctrinal knowledge, rich with abstract concepts and imagery, is processed in networks dedicated to semantics and language. This suggests that belief is deeply integrated with our capacity for social cognition. From an evolutionary perspective, certain cognitive tendencies may have laid the groundwork for religious thought. One such mechanism is a hyperactive agency detection device, a natural inclination to distinguish between inert objects and active agents. This can lead to the attribution of intent to inanimate objects or natural phenomena, a foundational step toward conceiving of unseen forces or supernatural beings. This tendency, known as anthropomorphism, is the very human habit of assigning human-like qualities to the non-human world. Furthermore, the stories that form the bedrock of many traditions often contain minimally counterintuitive concepts. These ideas, which are just slightly strange enough to be memorable, but not so bizarre as to be dismissed, are more likely to be passed down through generations, forming the core of enduring mythologies. The experience of the mystical, that intense feeling of connection to the divine, is also a subject of neurological study. Some researchers propose that these moments are cognitively structured phenomena, where the brain acts as a mediator, processing a perceived divine reality in a way that becomes comprehensible. An alternative view suggests such intensely emotional experiences could be the result of dysfunctional activity, or misfires, within the brain's limbic structures, which govern our deepest emotions. While not generating these experiences, the frontal lobe plays a crucial role, mediating a readiness for them and contributing to the profound sense of immediacy that often accompanies such encounters. From these cognitive foundations spring the grand narratives of humanity, myths. These are not mere fables, but sacred stories that a culture holds to be fundamentally true, for they deal with ultimate realities. Myths serve to establish order and meaning, providing a framework for interpreting the world and creating a sense of continuity and identity for a community. They recount the deeds of supernatural beings, and these primordial events become exemplary models for all significant human activities, from marriage and work to education. Through the telling of these sacred histories, individuals can transcend the ordinary and connect with the divine. This connection is made tangible through ritual, a practice that allows participants to enter an eternal return. In this state, the time separating the present from the mythical age collapses, and individuals can re-experience the sacred foundational events of their tradition. Ritual, therefore, is a vital ingredient of civilization, a performance that safeguards morality, reinforces social cohesion, and provides practical guidance for humanity. The historical tapestry of belief is one of constant evolution. In the ancient Near East, the spiritual landscape was predominantly polytheistic, with pantheons of gods governing the worlds of Mesopotamians, Egypt, and Hittites. Over millennia, however, a profound transformation began to unfold. Some scholars suggest that a transitional phase known as Henotheism, the worship of a single god while acknowledging the existence of others, served as a bridge. Early Israelite poetry, such as the Song of the Sea, hints at this stage before the emergence of true monotheism, the belief in only one God. This idea, reinforced by traditions like Zoroastrianism, set the stage for the great Abrahamic faiths. Within this evolving spiritual context, a new movement emerged from Second Temple Judaism. Its first adherents were Jewish, and their central claim was that Jesus was the Christ who fulfilled the promises made to the Hebrew patriarchs. Following his crucifixion, his apostles are said to have dispersed from Jerusalem, spreading his teachings. These early communities, often connected to existing Jewish centers, gathered in small private homes. By the end of the first century, their numbers were small, estimated at fewer than 10,000 people, a tiny fraction of the Roman Empire's 60 million inhabitants. Yet the movement grew with remarkable consistency, at a calculated rate of about 3.4% per year. By the year 200, their population had swelled to over 200,000. 50 years later, it surpassed 1 million, representing nearly 2% of the empire. By the year 300, Christians numbered around 6 million, or 10% of the population. This expansion was facilitated by the relative security of Roman roads and a pivotal decision to welcome non-Jews without requiring full adherence to the Torah, which broadened its appeal significantly. This growth occurred despite periods of intense persecution. Eventually, an imperial proclamation granted tolerance to the faith, ending state-sponsored opposition. A great council was later convened to unify Christian beliefs, and by the year 380, Nicene Christianity was declared the official state religion of the Roman Empire. Today, the legacy of these ancient developments is a world where nearly 76% of the population identifies with a religion. Christianity is the largest and most geographically dispersed group, with 2 and 3/10 billion followers across Asia, Africa, Europe, and the Americas. Islam follows closely with 2 billion adherents, concentrating primarily in Asia and Africa. The religiously unaffiliated constitute the third largest demographic, at 1 and 9/10 billion people, 2/3 of whom reside in China. Hinduism, with 1 and 2/10 billion followers, is highly concentrated in India and Nepal, while the majority of the world's 324 million Buddhists live in Asia. Religion continues to be a central force in the lives of billions, shaping cultural norms, social attitudes, and public policy. Its relationship with science is often oversimplified as one of conflict, but history reveals a far more complex interaction. The very concepts of science and religion as separate domains are relatively recent, and for centuries, natural philosophy flourished within societies organized by religious traditions. Indeed, some argue that certain theological assumptions provided a fertile ground for the development of modern science. In the contemporary era, a notable trend is the growth of the unaffiliated, whose share of the global population is rising. This is driven largely by people in historically Christian-majority countries switching out of their religious affiliation, a shift reflected in nations like the United Kingdom, Australia, and France, where Christians now comprise less than half the population. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and comment with your thoughts or what you'd like to see next.